Good afternoon, everyone. This is Shani with IB Professional School. As a part of our every week webinar or related to topics related to analytics, today we are going to conduct a webinar on data validation in MS Excel. So first of all, I would request everyone to mute your mics, and as and when you have a question, then you can unmute yourself and then ask me the question in between also. So the first thing that we have to understand is, what do you mean by data validation? What is data validation? Data validation is a tool that we use when we are entering the data. And while we're entering the data, the things that we would want to protect while we're entering the data is that no invalid data gets entered in our sheet. Now, invalid data may be defined in various ways. With different situations, it may be a different thing. For example, let's say I have a column in which only the whole numbers have to be entered, and I want to make sure nobody is entering a decimal number. So my validation over there would be only the whole numbers have to be entered and no decimal. So that's the kind of a criteria we're talking about. So depending on the different projects that we are doing and different files that we are maintaining, we will have different kind of criteria. The most important thing to understand in data validation are the steps that you need to do in order to have a good validation being applied on it. So step number one is that we have to apply the validation on the cells, and we have to select the cells on which we are going to apply that validation. For example, I want to apply a validation of whole numbers. I want to make sure that anybody who is entering the number in those particular cells can only enter a number between 1 to 100. And those cells, let it be F1 to F10, where I want to make sure that the user is following my validation. What I'm going to do, I'm going to select F1 to F10. Then where is data validation? It's in the data tab. In data tab, if you go to data tools, you will see data validation. We're going to click on the drop down. We have an option of data validation, circle invalid data, and clear validation cells. Now, circle invalid data and clear validation cells is used when the data is already there in sheet and we are trying to look for the data which does not fall into my criteria. Data validation tab, the tool of data validation will use while we're entering the data in the sheet. So once we click on data validation, you will see the first tab is of settings, the second tab is of input message, and the third tab is of error alerts. Now, input message and error alert is something that you may or you may not provide. It's very much optional. But what we are going to work mainly is in the settings part. In the settings, if you look at the allow, under this right now it's written any value. Any value means I can enter any value in those cells. That is why in Excel, when you're working, you are able to enter a number or a decimal, a date, a character, anything, whatever you want, you're able to enter. So we are going to look at the drop down. In the drop down, we have an option of whole numbers, an option of decimal, list, date, time, text length, and custom. Let's take a first one, which is whole numbers. And since we're talking about numbers, the options that we get is between, not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, greater than equal to, less than equal to, and so on and so forth. So let's say the criteria that I wanted to apply on the cells of F1 to F10 was I should be able to only enter any number which is between 1 to 100. So I am going to go for the criteria of between. Since I'm picking between, I'll have to tell the minimum and maximum. Minimum is 1 and let's say maximum is 100, and we press OK. So now when I enter the data, let's say I enter 45, which is within my criteria, then I enter 78 within the criteria. How about 102? As soon as I press 102, which is outside my criteria range, it gives me a error, and this is a user defined error. It is saying the user has restricted values that can be entered into the cell, hence I am preventing the user to enter something which is not valid as per my criteria. And over here we have a button of retry or cancel. So if you are not providing the right value, it is going to come again and again till you give a value which fits into the criteria. If I press cancel, it will take away that value and the empty cell would be there. So this is a very basic example of the whole numbers. Similarly, I can also have Let's say I'm going to change the criteria only in this first cell now, F1, going to validation. Instead of whole numbers, let's say we want to put decimals, same process as the whole numbers. In this, the user will allow me to put decimal numbers also. And again, we can work with between, greater than, less than, greater than, equal to, and so on and so forth. Then we come to list. I'll tell you about the list a little later. Let's talk about date. Now what I've done, I had applied a criteria of data validation from F1 to F10. I picked only one cell of F1 and let's say I want to change the validation criteria over there. So I'm applying a criteria of date and I am saying let the date be greater than, only if the date is greater than 1/1/2014 it should be allowed to put. Right? Now there is an option at the bottom which you see which says apply these changes to all other cells with the same setting. When I will use this? I initially applied a data validation criteria on F1 to F10. Now when I'm making a change in the criteria, I'm only selecting F1 cell. If I don't want to select all the cells in which I had initially put the criteria of whole numbers, I can select one cell and check mark over here. So if you see in the background, it automatically selected from F1 to F10. And now I can apply the criteria of the date. Again, the same thing is going to happen. If I put 2/1/2014 within the range, it allows me. 4/5/2014 allows me. Now there are two benefits that I get when I put the validation of the dates. Number one, whatever is my criteria is being met by the user. And number two, the biggest problem in the industry is the format in which the date is entered in Excel. A lot of people would try to put something like this 4.5.2014. Now, is this a date format? It is a date format for us, right? For computer, for Excel, is it a date format? No. And when people enter such things into our Excel sheets, we are not able to use a lot of tools in which we could have done our work a little faster just because it is in a proper format. So when you have data validation not only checks for the proper date, it is not going to allow you any wrong format also. So it's a very good tool, especially when we have multiple users. When we have multiple users and I'm allowing different people to enter into the same sheet. Now what is date to me may not be date to you. So different people have a different habit of entering dates, of putting text. So this way I can control my data. Right? So I can say cancel and then it will take care of it. Now you've seen one or two tools that I'm using in data validation. We've seen whole numbers, we've seen decimals, we've seen dates. What do you think is the real advantage of using data validation? Why should I use a data validation? One is I am controlling my data. That is a very big advantage, that I am controlling my data. Then I have a drop down list. What happens in the drop down list? We can select options from one option, so whatever I like, I will select multiple options. Okay, yeah, list is something that we use the maximum when it comes to data validation. So let's go ahead and look at the list. So let's say I'm going to apply a list from H1 to H10, selecting my cells, going to data, in data going to data validation, in allow, clicking on the drop down and going to the list. Now what is the role of a list? I don't know how many of you have seen, but we can create a list over here and it comes like a drop down list from where you can pick and choose your data and it comes into the particular cell. Now all you have to give over here is a source. What do you mean by source? What do you mean by source? Source means the data from which will appear in your drop down list. That is the source. Now my question to you is, when you talk about source, should the source be in the same sheet where you are applying the data validation list or in a different sheet? Different sheet. It should be in a different sheet. And what is the reason that it should be in a different sheet? I mean, so that the part doesn't. I mean, if it is on the same list, then both the things you will have at the same time. I mean, it may not take the cell. No, that is not the problem. If it's on the same sheet, I'm able to pick my list and everything works perfectly fine. But why should I put it on a separate list? What is the purpose of data validation? To control your data. And if you put the source on the same sheet where the user is working, can't I go ahead and tamper it? Yeah. I can. If I want to alter the data that is there in your list, I can. If I want to delete something, I can. If I want to add something, I can. So that is the reason we don't put the source on the same sheet as where we are going to apply our list. So first of all, I'm going to go to open another sheet, and over here I'm going to put a list. Now, what you have to do is you have to make a list. Let's say I'm going to make a list of the courses at Ivy. So data analytics, actuarial science, and corporate training. Right? Once I have use this list. Now in 2007, the problem is if your list is on a separate worksheet where you're putting versus where you're putting your validation, then you will not be able to come and pick the source. Like you do a cell referencing, you go ahead and select the cells, you won't be able to do that. So, and as a best policy, it's always good to name your list and use the name of the list inside your data validation. So I selected the 3 cells. How do you name anything? We are going to select the cells which we want to name. And in A1, we can start writing the name. Let's say we are going to say IV underscore program PRG and enter. Now I've named this list. I'm going to come to sheet 2. I'm going to go to data. My cells are already selected. Data validation, list, and in source you have to put the name of the list after an equal to sign. If you do not put the equal to sign, only the name of the first cell would show up over here, or only the name of the list that you've given. Let's say I've given IV underscore PRG, only that will appear over here. So equal to sign IV underscore PRG and OK. You see there is a drop down created on this cell. So if I click on the drop down, I see the choices that I have, the 3 choices: data analytics, actuarial science, and corporate training. So one advantage we understood that since I'm doing a data validation, I'm able to get a good control on my data. What else can be advantage of using a list like this? Saves time. It saves a lot of time because you're not typing it. You're just clicking and picking it up. What else? The user can see multiple options at the same time. So I can see multiple options. Okay. Errors will be reduced. Yes, excellent. Errors would be reduced. Why? Because when we are typing something, we are going to make lot of spelling mistakes, right? So errors can be reduced by that. Secondly, I can have a good control on my formats also, because a lot of people when they do the data entry, they might have a caps on, so they do everything in uppercase. Some people might be doing everything in lowercase. Some people might do proper case. So in order to make sure my data looks formatted, looks uniform, again if I use a list, I can control that. So couple of advantages of list. First of all, I control the entry into the data. So I have a fixed criteria which can be entered over there. Secondly, I control the errors because the spelling mistakes nobody is typing, so mistakes are less. Thirdly, I'm able to control the formatting formatting style that is already there, and I save a lot of time because I'm not typing anything. Okay, so this is your list. Now, one common problem is, let's say in future, I decide to increase the number of programs at Ivy. Okay, so I can go ahead and put a program over here. Let's say I'm going to introduce .NET workshop. Now, will this .NET workshop appear in the data validation list in the sheet 2? It won't, right? Because I had named only cell A1 to A3 as IV underscore program. So how do I tackle it? One way of tackling it would be that I go to my name manager where all the names are saved and I extend it, right? But it's not very dynamic. Some people may remember, people may forget to add or delete it. Other way can be I am going to make this list dynamic. How we are going to make it dynamic? We are going to select the list. We are going to go to home and we are going to format it as a table. As soon as I apply a table as a format of a table, the table properties also are given to the range that you've selected, and as a result, as and when you're adding anything to your list, it automatically extends the table. So let's say I'm going to put this table. It's asking where is the data. It selected the data A1 to A4. And then it says my data has headers. My data does not have header, so I'm not going to check mark on this thing. So I'm going to click OK. This thing has come up. Now I'm going to select the 4 cells and I'm going to name them. Let's say I will name them again IV program. But I'm writing the full form of program. So it's a different name that I have applied on it. And I've pressed enter. Right? Even though I've named it IV program, it still shows up as table 1 because I formatted as a table and this is the first table that I'm using in my workbook. So I go back. You can't change the basic name that Excel has given, but I am overwriting on it. So I've picked these and I've still named them IV underscore program. To make sure that it's named, I can go to the formula tab, go to the name manager, and you see it's over here, IV underscore program. The default name will still show. Okay, so we are going to go to sheet 2. I'm going to pick it in, let's pick H1 to H10 again. We're going to go to data, validation. In the list, instead of PRG, I'm going to change my list of IV underscore program. Click OK. Let's see if .NET is there. Yes, it's coming. Now let's go back to sheet 3 and add one more. Let's say I want to add Java also. Does this show up in my list automatically now? Yes, it does. Okay, so this is a way you can create a dynamic list. Sure. So what we are going to do, the list, the source list that we are going to create, just a repetition of what is going on. We are creating a source list. Now instead of leaving that source list as a range, as a simple range, we are going to convert it as a table. How do you convert it as a table? This is my simple source list. So I'm going to select my list. I'm going to go to home. And in home, we are going to say format as table. Okay, you can pick any one format. It really doesn't matter. Once you click on the format as table, it says where is the data on your table. So it selects my data A1 to A6. Then in this case, now I have header in my table. So I'm going to check mark saying the table has header so that it does not include the first cell as a content cell. Click OK. Once you've done that, leave the header because I don't want the header to show up in my data validation list. So leaving the header, I selected the content and I can go ahead and name it over here. In our case, I name it IV underscore program. Once that is done, you're going to go back to data validation and give the source as that particular list. So anytime you're adding or deleting anything in that particular list, changing, adding, deleting, it automatically gets updated in the list. Okay. Next thing, let's go to the next option that we have in data validation. The next option is we have got dates. We've covered that. We have time. Time is also going to work as date. Time is also going to work as date. It not only helps me to put a proper time, but it also controls the format in it. Again, people have a bad habit of giving the wrong format of the time. Then we have got something called text length. Text length means whatever you're entering, it is going to control the length of the number or the number of characters that you're entering in. Can you think of an example where I can use text length in data validation? Name can be different characters, right? Name, no. Text length. Person's name. No, that is not. This is length. Okay, so I can't say they can be only 20 characters because the name of every different person, and if you include the middle name and everything, it's going to be different. Correct. Suppose if you want 4 characters from the left or 5 characters from the middle or both. See, this tool does not do extraction. What it does is only validate the data. Now, the rule that we are working in right now is the text length. So, it's going to look at the complete text that you're entering into the cell. Suppose there is a field for the description, comment part and this. So, you can write should be less than 260. Exactly. The way you have your SMS. When you write an SMS, you can't go on and finish it, email into it. What we can do, we can only have 160 characters. So 160 characters is a text length. That is a good example of your text length data validation. Another example would be your passwords. When you put in your passwords, they have minimum of 6 and maximum of 9 characters. Another good example maybe, let's say I'm working in a company where I'm doing a lot of logistics of sending in the couriers and the parcels. Now when I get the bill number from a particular courier service, it is of the fixed length, 11 characters. So that is one. If I'm putting a column in which I'm putting only 4 numbers, 4 numbers is going to be 10 characters all the time. If you talk about PAN card numbers, fixed length, passports, fixed length, Aadhaar numbers, fixed length. So all these places, if I have a column in which every day I'm inputting something which has a fixed length into it, or which has a range, like in case of password 6 to 9, in those cases on that particular column, I should be applying a validation of text length. So just to look quickly, let's say text length is, we are going to say it should be like, if I have to say 10 number of characters, then it would be equal to, like 10 would be the length. Click OK. Now let's say we're going to enter a phone number, mobile number, and I say 99034455 and I leave it. Since it is not 10, it is less than 10, it gives me an error. Again I can go back 5566. It allows me because now it is 10 characters. 10 is a text length that I had given for my validation. So this is how the text length is going to work. Any questions?
Text length, I mean, basically it works on the, I mean, it's the numeric field. So like numeric text.
See, yeah, that's a common question that I have been asked quite a number of times. The numbers can be saved in Excel as text. The numbers can be treated as text in Excel.
So it is like treating as a string.
It is treating as a string, and it is looking at the number of characters that you entering into it. It can be alphanumeric, it can be only numbers, it can be only pure text. Any three, it would be treating as a. Exactly, it is going to see the number of characters. The number of character may consist of special characters also. It doesn't matter, because when you deal with the passwords, minimum of 6, maximum of 9, and in between there should be one capital letter, one special character. That you can do a validation over there, but in that, to do such a validation, you will require the help of text functions also, because you're not only controlling the length of the text, but you're also controlling what text is going into it. But we are not going to do in this particular text length. We will work in the last validation criteria, which is custom. Okay, such things are done in custom. For example, I want to make sure when you enter the email ID, @ sign is there. So I'll have to use a find function to make sure, which is a text function, to make sure @ is there, and if it's there, then only allow it to enter, otherwise don't allow it to enter. Okay, let's move on to the last validation criteria, which is custom. Very interesting one. What happens in custom? It allows me to put a formula. When you say formula, I have to put an equal to sign and then write my formula. Now the formula that you put over here should give me an output of true or false. So it's basically a logical test that I can write over here.
If and
not if, because if does not give me true and false, but yes, and, or, and is NA, is number, is error, and any logical operator, greater than sign, less than sign, all these are going to give me true and false as an answer. So when I use this particular custom part of data validation, the main aim is to write a formula that will give the answer in terms of true and false. Now how it works is, if the answer is true, then it will allow the user to input what he is inputting. Otherwise, it will restrict the entry again.
It will perform the test to see that
it will exactly
something is true or false, matching the criteria.
Yes.
Then after that, we can give it out error or something.
Exactly. So it is going to work with the formulas, and it is going to allow only if the logical test gives me an answer, give me true. We are not going to give any data. See, this data validation is used before you enter the data. So we apply the validation, and while the data is getting entered, it is going to keep on checking by taking the cell value. So like for example, the first question I've given here over here is apply a validation in the cells A1 to A10 such that the numbers are to be entered in only ascending order. Okay, only entering in ascending order means first with the smallest number would come and then the higher and so on and so forth. Now let's say instead of A1 to A10, I want to apply this validation on J column. So how will I do that? First of all, I can't put on J1 because J1 will be my first number. After that, I have to make sure whatever number comes has to be greater than J1, right? So I'm going to miss J1, select J2 to J10, go to data, validation, and I'm going to work in custom. So in this formula, what would be the formula? The formula would be that this cell J2 has to be greater than J1, right? So I have created a logical test. And this formula that we are writing goes to the first cell of my selection. The first cell of my selection is J2. So this particular formula sits in J2. And there are other cells in my selection. So what happens in there? Over there, this formula gets copy pasted just like a normal copy paste of your Excel, where it is going to work with relative reference. So if when I come to J2, the J3, the formula would become is J3 greater than J2. In the next cell, it will become is J4 greater than J3 and so on and so forth. And if you want to restrict something, if let's say I wanted to enter a series of number, which is all of them irrespective what order it is, it has to be greater than J1. In that case, I had to fix my J1 so that I'm making sure whatever numbers are entered are greater than J1. So it depends on the question. I can use a dollar sign or I may not be using a dollar sign. So over here, if I say J2 greater than J1, click OK.
Didn't use, really J, dollar J.
It depends whether you're copy pasting. See, if I'm working on a simple column, my columns do not change. J does not change anyway, so I don't have to work on the. But if I was working upon a validation which had a table in it, and I wanted to make sure that J column remains fixed, then I would do that. So over here, let's give a number. Let's say we are putting 100. So if can I put 90 over here? No, because it is less than that. Can I put 103? Yes. 110? Yes. Now can I put 105? Again, no, because it has to follow what is on the top. Okay, so I can put 200, I can put 240 and so on and so forth. So this is how your custom works. So main thing that you have to understand in custom is over here, we are going to give a formula. The formula should return me true or false as an answer. If it's true, my data gets entered. If it's false, my data does not get entered. Okay, let's look at one more example. And this is a very common thing that we use with data validation. Apply validation in the cell B1 to B10 such that no duplicates can be entered. That is the biggest problem when the data entry is happening, the duplicates. I am typing something and I have to go for a tea break, I come back, I forget where I was and I enter the data again. So what if I want to restrict this thing? We are going to use a data validation. Now duplication means that a certain content of the cell that was supposed to happen one time is happening more than one time. So is there a function that I can use which helps me to count how many times a particular content has occurred in a list? Any function which helps me to find the frequency of the data? Count will just tell me how many are there. Frequency. How many times have Tamal appeared for test in Excel? So, how many times Tamal has appeared for Excel test? So I am looking at one particular data's repetition. Which function would we use? It would be count if. Because there is a criteria. I am saying how many times, I am not saying how many times all of you have appeared. I said how many times a particular person has appeared. So it's going to be countif. So I'm going to make use of this countif function. Just to look at the countif function standalone, to make sure we know the syntax properly. So countif, and there is range, and there is criteria. What do you mean by range? Range is a set of cells on which I'm going to check for my criteria, and the criteria is I want to find out how many times that particular data has appeared. Okay, so how we are going to use a countif? Let's see over here. I'm going to apply it on the L1 to L10. So I'm going to select the cells L1 to L10. Data, validation, custom, and equal to sign, COUNTIF. Now when you're working in formula part, you would not be prompted of the syntax.
You have to do, I think, accepted or not accepted, agreed or not agreed, something like that.
No, it simply helps me to count. Like if I have an example of how many females are there in this class.
There is a certain condition attached to it.
Exactly. So we are going to give the condition. The criteria is there because only on the based on that particular criteria you can count, right? So what I was saying was in this formula part, the syntax does not appear. So make sure you're aware of the syntax properly before you enter this area. So first thing is on which I want to check my criteria. So this is my range L1 to L10. Because over here I want to see how many times a particular data is repeated. I want to control it. Comma, what would be my criteria? Duplicate values cannot be a criteria. What can be the criteria? I am going to say first cell. But what if J1 is equal to J10? Is that allowed? It's still duplicacy. That is also not allowed. So I want to check how many times L1 is repeated in the range of L1 to L10. Okay, how many times L1 cell, which is the first cell of your range, is repeated in this range? If the answer comes 1, acceptable. If the answer comes 2, not acceptable. So this is not a logical test right now. It's just a formula. So I'm going to create a logical test. If this is equal to 1, only then it should be allowed. So if the value of L1 is repeated in more number of times, then it should not be allowed. So the formula is equal to COUNTIF, brackets L1 is to L10,
that is the range.
The range, comma L1, which is the first cell of your range, bracket close, that finishes my COUNTIF function, equal to 1. So anytime it goes beyond 1 means there is a duplicate.
But if we put a COUNTIF function without using data validation, then the formula will be different.
It's the same formula, but see, COUNTIF is a function. What I'm doing, I'm using this function and I'm appending something to this formula to give a logical test to it.
If we use it without using data validation,
it's the same function.
Equal to what we need to use it.
That is an additional. Function is COUNTIF only. After COUNTIF, I'm saying equal to 1 to make a logical test.
But what is the use of equal to?
What do you mean by duplicacy? What should be the frequency?
Duplicacy means like a same thing shouldn't appear more than
once. Once. It should appear only one time.
Okay, that is why you're giving equal to 1.
Yes. To make sure it appears only one time. Anytime it's going beyond 1, it means it's a duplicate entry. Right? So that is why.
1 means that is 2. And it has to follow. If it is true, then it becomes
exactly.
false.
If it becomes true, this becomes false and it does not allow the user to enter the data. Right? But you have to understand one more thing. Before I can say okay on this thing, I'll have to fix my range. Yes. If I don't fix my range, when I go to the cell L2, my formula will become COUNTIF L2 to L10, comma L2 to L11, comma L2. So every time I'm going to miss on the entry on the top.
So do we have to fix?
You will have to fix it. So again, I'm going to come over here. I'm going to fix my range completely. So that when I go down, the formula is L1 to L2, comma L2. L2 to L10, comma L2. Then I go down, it becomes L1 to L10, comma L3, and so on and so forth. So whatever are the values on the top.
Fix the first range. Only the total range only we need to fix, or we shouldn't fix the
first range as in? We may or may not do L10, let's say, but then the validation will not flow. Okay. The validation we have applied only on 10 cells, so it's better to fix that.
L1 is not fixed.
L1 will not fix
only
because
only
the range part will get fixed because L1 you want to move, because when you go to the next cell, I want to evaluate the value of L2, not L1. Okay, so now I can click OK. Let's say we enter 1, 2, 3, all are unique values, fine. Enter 2 again. It says retry because this is duplicacy. So in such cases, so your data validation, it may seem it's a very simple and easy tool. It is a simple and easy tool, but it depends on where you want to apply a validation. Depending on the validation, the formula that you're giving in customs can become very complicated, can become very complex. And you may be using your ands and ors and counters and text functions, you name it, and they will be over here. But the aim should be, common mistake that people do in this formula part is use if function. We understand, as soon as we say the word logical function, we think of if. But you have to remember the if function does not give us true or false. If is used to give us more than true and false. The logical part that you use, the logical test that you use in your if function is what you should be writing over here. Because after that you say, okay, if this is true, then this is the true value and this is the false value. Right? So this is your custom.
Whatever functions we use, it should be return a value of true or false.
Whatever functions you use, see, some of the functions don't return true and false. Like we use countif. Countif does not return us true and false, but we have to create a logical test using that. Like if I say, is B1 greater than B2? B1 and B2 are not going to return true and false, but this combination of B1 greater than B2 using an operator in between, I created a logical test. Over here, we use an operator of equal to. So that gives me a true or false answer. Right? Any other questions?
The combination returns true or false. I mean, if there is a return type.
Yeah, or anytime you use a logical operator. If I'm using this, is this greater than this? Logical operators will only return true and false as an output. They cannot return anything else. If I say, did you pass or fail? It's a true and false kind of a thing. There's no answer, no, I got 54. What do you mean by that? Pass or fail, right? So these are the Boolean things that you have to work with, true or false. Any other questions? Okay, let's see what else is there in our data validation. There are two more tabs. Let's just quickly go through them. Like I told you, working with the other two tabs is completely your choice. What happens in input box? Now, if you've seen something called comments on the cell, have you seen comments? In comments, what happens? As soon as you click on the cell, a box appears on the side and it has the comments that our user had to put on that particular cell. Same thing will happen in input message. In input message, I can give a particular message. Let's say no duplicate. And over here, please make sure you are entering unique data. Right? So what is the use of this? Once I've applied, when I click over here, it simply says no duplicate, make sure you will use the unique data or you're entering a unique data. What is the role of input box? It helps the user to understand what kind of input I'm looking for. I had put in particular cell and I think it was in F or E that you can only enter numbers between 1 and 100. Now, I do not explain to the user what I'm looking for. So he keeps on trying 200, it's not coming. 210, it's not coming. So it's very frustrating at the other end when the user that why it's not able to enter it. So if I would have given an input box saying that you in this column you can only enter 1 to 100, that will help him to understand and not make errors while he's entering the data. So that is the purpose of your input box. Any cell that you are going to go to, it will show you this particular error, provided you have selected when you're giving the message. Input message. You have to select the range. Always, in data validation, the best policy is select the cells, put the setting, put the input message, put the error alert all together on the same range and then work with it. Okay. Now let's look at the third one, which is error alert. Now what happens in error alert? Two things we can do. First of all, the error alert that you get right now whenever you're making an invalid entry is by default. Default comes that the user has restricted and this kind of message comes up. What if you customize that also? Okay, now we are doing something with the duplicate. So we can say this as duplicate entry. You have entered duplicate number. Right? And okay, now if I go ahead over here and I'm entering 2, so instead of having a default error, I'm getting duplicate entry. So I know what error I made. Okay, it's saying duplicate entry, you have entered a duplicate. I specify because you are as a user are giving this is the error which needs to be prompted to the user. So it specifies again that I'm entering so I have an input box which says I should not be entering a duplicate entry, right? And let's say I miss that. and I still enter the data and happen to duplicate, so my error alert also reminds me that I'm entering something which is duplicate. So I can retry and put a number which is not a duplicate number.
What's the difference between the input box and the
Input message.
Input message and the
Input message helps you, it is a message that is given to the user before you enter the data. Okay, and the error alert when you're even clicking on that cell to enter anything. Okay, all these cells have input message, so that's coming up on the top. An error alert message would show up when you enter the data and it's invalid.
Error alert is perfectly alright, but
Input message is just like, let's say when I'm going to save my file. Right. So what is this? It's saying file name. It tells me that this is the place I'm supposed to put my file name. This is the place I'm supposed to select my save as. So it helps the user to understand what he or she is supposed to enter. Right? Like we told over here we put a validation of that date has to be greater than 1/1/2014, 1st January 2014. So if I don't put an input message of that the date has to be greater than 1st January 2014, you may be applying multiple dates, and every time an error comes, it's very frustrating to understand what do I have to put so that this thing starts working. So input message prompts the user to understand what kind of data or what kind of criteria is there for a valid data in this particular column or sheet or cells.
So suppose if they enter something wrong,
then the error alert would show up. Okay. Now, one more thing is that in your error alerts, there are 3 types of error alerts. The one we have been working in which is by default is stop. If you see, when you use the stop, it only gives you a choice of retry and cancel. Right? So there is no way you can enter the data. You have to retry till you fit into the criteria that the user has to give in, or you cancel it. But there is one more type of validation. Two more type of alerts are there. One is warning and one is information. Warning what would warning mean? Look at the symbol. Warning means it will warn you. When I warn you, I can't restrict you. When I stop, I say don't do it. When I warn you, I said okay, it's good that you don't proceed further. I'm warning you, but still you can throw away my warning away and you can still walk further. Right? That's a warning. So if I click on warning, now let's see what happens. If I click on 2, it's a duplicate number. So it says you have entered a duplicate number. Do you want to continue? So I have an option of saying yes, I want to continue and still go ahead with it. So can you think of a scenario? Why would I use a warning and not a stop sign? What would be that situation? Why would I allow my user when I'm saying I don't want duplicate entries? Why would I allow my user to go ahead and say okay, even if it's duplicate, go ahead?
it might be required.
It might be required, like what situation? Let's say, for example,
if a customer buys 10 number of products, say 4 laptops, there is a duplicate having the customer the laptop.
Okay, I think someone else wants to answer.
Booking cinema tickets.
Cinema tickets, as in, explain it further.
For example, I'm booking movie tickets online, and the one who's sitting in counter, he's entering as to how many tickets she has to give me. So in that case, the number of
tickets that a person has buy may be the same thing again and again.
Yes, it can get repeated.
Exactly, it can be repeated. You were saying something?
No, I was telling the same thing. Suppose if 4 people buy 2 tickets each.
Right.
So 2 will come
4 number of times. Exactly. When I'm entering the name of the employee in my organization, okay, I already have somebody called Amit Gupta. I can hire another employee with the name Amit Gupta. So even though it's a duplicate, it does not mean that it's actually a duplicate person. The same person I'm not hiring again. Okay. So over here in such cases where I know same name or same text or same number can come back again, but it would be a different record, then I can give a different warning. I can say this is a duplicate number. Make sure you are entering a new value only. And I can allow the user to proceed further. Right? Similar to your warning is your information. I can have also the information. Information will give me information. Again, it can allow the user to go ahead. So if I put 2 over here, this is how it's becoming. It's okay. You have entered it's just giving. You entered a duplicate value. Okay, no problem. Go ahead. Right? So it has just okay and cancel button. In warning, it's warning you. Then it's up to you. You want to say yes, no, or cancel. So this is the whole thing in your data validation. One very important thing of your data validation that you have to understand is a little bit drawback in your data validation. What is the drawback? The drawback is, it's an advantage, it's a drawback. Let's say I applied this duplicate value validation on one particular cell. I can copy this and I can paste it somewhere else. So when I'm copy pasting one cell, the validation also gets copy pasted. Okay, let's say I forgot to put a validation on certain cells, so I can copy the validation from one cell and paste it on other cells. This is an advantage. What is the disadvantage? The disadvantage is, let's say I copied a cell which has no validation on it and I pasted on a cell which has a validation on it. What will happen in this case? The validation will be taken away. Because I copy pasted a cell which has no validation on it on the cell which has validation on it. So the validation that I had applied will go away, because that's what happens when you copy paste. This is a very big problem. So let's say over here I had a restriction that no duplicate values can be entered. So when I was entering, I was getting warning signs, right? But if there is a number 2 sitting in some other cell, I can copy and I can paste it. Even though there is a validation, I override the validation now. So there's a very, very big disadvantage in data validation. I can copy paste and I can work around the validation criteria. Right? Any questions? Any question from the audience? Okay.